Let's talk today about trimming and pruning tomato plants. Our tomatoes do the best in our farm stand. Everybody wants heirloom tomatoes around here. So this year, I told myself I was going to plant a lot of tomatoes. And in doing so, I overplanted all our trellises purposely. So I'm going to show you today how to trim the tomato plants and take back all the non-fruiting leaves and then trellis them up the trellises for the best growth.
This is a set of tomato plants I started to prune today, and I'm going to show you how to prune yours so they look like this. The main reason I like to prune them is to combat diseases. Pruning helps to give the plants more airflow, which keeps mold and fungus from overtaking your plants. We've also had a lot of rain this year, and you can see it's causing some leaf curl. Pruning will help the plant direct its energy to the needed branches and the fruit instead of some of these excess branches. Now this is my process for pruning indeterminate tomatoes. Indeterminate tomatoes are tomatoes that vine, so they work perfectly going up the trellis. They also produce fruit throughout the season, so these will not quit on me until we get a frost. Determinate tomatoes I will not prune unless there is a pest or a disease issue. Determinate tomatoes are more bush type tomatoes, and they typically only produce one set of fruit. They might produce a lot of fruit, but that'll be it for them once the fruit is set. If you want an example of a determinate tomato, a Roma tomato is the perfect example. It is a bush tomato and it only sets fruit once, and when it's done, it's done.
These are the trellises that I still have yet to trim out and trellis, and you can see that they are growing wild. They're very kind of stuffed and packed at the bottom. They are not getting good airflow, and those plants will be ripe for disease. This one I've started working on right here, and I'm going to work on that one more here with you guys. And then this one, like I just showed you, I have finished up most of it. There are still a few non-fruiting branches on there, which is okay. But if you can go ahead and take those off, that is good too. So I'm going to show you here because I think it'll be clearer. This is a non-fruiting branch, and the way you tell is because it has no fruit growing off of it. These ones up at the top here, these ones are fruiting branches, non-fruiting branch. So fruiting, leave those. This one's probably non-fruiting. This one can come off, it's non-fruiting. But these will give you fruit. So I'm gonna go in and just cut here and take that branch off. Let's see, we talked about having some others. So you can see this one here, sorry you guys, I'm doing this all with one hand. This one's a non-fruiting, so I'm gonna take that one off as well. This one's gonna be trickier because I have to, again, do this with one hand, and I'm gonna go and just clip like that. So then this, I'm gonna bring through my trellis just like that. Sorry, y'all. All right, here's another non-fruiting, so we'll just go ahead and take that little one off the side here. And you can see this plant is actually already starting to fruit, which is amazing. I've not grown this type of tomato before. It is a Black Beauty, so I'm excited about these. I can't wait to taste them this season. All right, let's go back into these fruiting and non-fruiting. Non-fruiting right here, taking it off simply. So when you go through and do this, you will be surprised at how many non-fruiting branches your tomato plants actually have. So you can take them all off, you can leave some. I tend to leave some at the top of the plants just because I feel like the top of the plants, it'll help to kind of shade the bottom. It'll help to bring in, there we go. It'll help to bring in some more sunlight for the plant as a whole. But once the plants grow larger, I will start taking them all off. So again, here's another non-fruiting. Look how big this was, like ridiculously big. There's no need for the tomato plant to have this. On this section here, I'm gonna go through this and I'm gonna prune this whole area, and I'll show you guys kind of what that looks like from start to finish on this section of plants. There are I don't know, there's maybe 8 or 9 plants on this one side of this trellis. So I'll go through and count once I thin them out and take off all the non-fruiting branches. This is also a good time to go through and cut out any plants that you see that are getting diseases or have any insect damage. So I will do that as well. Even if it's a fruiting branch, I'll take the whole branch out. Now you might be asking, do you have to do this? No, you don't have to do this. It's your garden, do what you want. If you don't want to do this, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to do this, it's a really good way to help keep your plants healthy. A lot of people will go and they will prune out suckers too, which are kind of side branches growing off the main stem of the plant.
Here's a photo of what a non-fruiting tomato branch looks like and what a sucker looks like. This is a small sucker, so this will grow and this will eventually get fruit, which is why I sometimes leave them because I don't mind getting more fruit. However, when you leave this sucker, you should know that you will get smaller fruit. This diverts the plant's energy from the main vine of the tomato plant into the sucker. So I don't mind smaller fruit when I get more fruit. Some people just want the full big tomatoes, and that's why they prune the suckers.
So if you're like, hey, what's a sucker? This shoot right here on the tomato plant is a sucker. So this here is the main stem of my tomato plant. Actually, all of these could be considered suckers. I'm gonna leave, take that. I'm gonna leave most of these. I'll probably take this one because it's smaller, but other than that, I'm gonna leave these side ones. All right, this plant here has a lot of suckers, so I am going to take off one of these side ones, especially because it looks like it's already kind of coming off, and I don't want it to make the plant sick. This one as well. Okay. That'll also allow us to get the plant a lot closer to the trellis. Sometimes with the non-fruiting branches, I'll leave them at the top like I mentioned. It helps to shade the tree a little bit more and the fruit, but sometimes it also helps them to grab onto the trellis. And if you are trellising, that can be important. In this case, because I have so many plants, I'm going to take probably most of those, and then I'm just going to count on my twine to hold the plant up and help support it here.
When tying the tomato plant to the trellis, you want to make sure you tie the main vine of the tomato plant to the trellis and not the suckers. You can also tie the suckers if you are leaving them on the plant to the trellis, but make sure you get that main vine of the tomato plant.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like I might actually have 10 tomato plants here. All the more reason to maybe cut out another sucker.
If you are looking for some great tomato recipes, here are a few from the website, and I will leave links to all of these in the description below.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you learned something here. I hope that your gardening year is successful, and I hope that you come back here and see us again at Sugar Maple Farmhouse on YouTube. Please remember to subscribe to our channel so you can come back. And if you want more information on pruning and trellising your tomatoes, you can go to sugarmaplefarmhouse.com, where I will have a full blog post. I will leave a link down below in the description. Have a great day, everyone.